Hello and welcome to another episode of the Silver and Black Coffee Hour. My name is Tom Petrini. I am here with my friends Aaron Blackerby. Aaron, how you doing?
Brother, I am sore from 2 hours of hooping this afternoon, but I am good because I've found the truth in the Devin book ones.
There you go. That sounds like a decent day to me. Zach Montana, what about you? You've also been physically active. You guys,
I ran a
exercise like
5K.
you're-
I think I need new shoes like AB though. My thing, I've run through my Nike running shoes, but that was good. Good pace, good time. Feel good. The runner's high is fake. I just feel good after a run.
Yeah, the runner's high is fake. It is fake.
Hooper's
like,
high is real.
I don't feel great after running, but it's like I need to do it.
I feel
The Hooper's high is real.
the Hooper's high
that's
is
right.
absolutely real.
If you
100%
win,
real.
if you lose, it's the Hooper's depression.
Well, in that case, your hometown San Antonio Spurs have
Nice.
been experiencing a bit of Hooper's high in the last week since we last spoke. A week ago, things looking pretty grim. At the time of this recording on Monday night, the Spurs are 2.5 games out of the play-in
Oh,
with
here we
no
go.
Victor Wembanyama and five after winning 3 straight for the first time since November. What the hell is happening? First, before we get into the hoops that we have seen, the trends, the games, the high praise, the what's next. We always forget to do this, so we gotta do it. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies, leave us comments when we ask questions that we ask each other. We want to hear from you guys, so drop a comment on YouTube or Spotify or
Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, I should say.
yeah. What's the other one? Webkins. I think we're on there, right? We're on Webkins, right, Aaron?
I've set us up to be like on every RSS feed that podcasts are sold.
Club Penguin?
And we sell ours for free.
Yeah, no, it's
So that's quite a deal,
Whoa.
you know.
Wow.
free pods, free feet,
Not $5.99.
free ads, Waterloo, sparkling water. Hit my
he's
line,
done.
God damn
Waterloo.
it, Tom. No more.
Put it down. Put it down like a kid. Put it down.
It's tasty. But
Like you know how your dog has the face mask. We need to get you those for your hands so
Bro.
you can't pick up during the podcast.
I guess this is good content, so we should tell the people that my production assistant Guppy, who's on the couch out there, he's a gross little freak. He won't stop eating Dookie, and we had to get him a mask that makes him look like Hannibal Lecter, makes him look like Steve Buscemi's character in Con Air, so that he won't like pick up other dogs' poops when we go on walks. It's ridiculous. It's hilarious.
I laughed for 10 minutes when I saw the picture.
We'll include an image of the goob here, but gosh, Aaron, you're the transition
I
maestro.
can transition.
I was
here
gonna say, I'm
first
looking
off.
at you, man.
So, where I played basketball today, there was poop just off the side of the court, and it was not dog.
Oh wow.
I did not go over to examine it, but it was not dog.
Bigger or smaller than a dog?
Bigger,
Oh boy.
not dog. But the transition further from, I saw that next to where I played pickup for 2 hours. One of my buddies covered it up. Shout out to you. It's not me doing it, whatever. But the Spurs played the Lakers from the last time we were here, and I gotta say, we did not play great. Some might say we played like poo-poo, but nonetheless, it was an entertaining game. We got there, Tom. We got there.
This is why I keep you around, and for all of the other stuff that you do. Your many talents. This is one of them.
Much like my friend who covered up the Dookie on the side of the court. The Spurs also dug themselves in a hole when they were playing like duty. And Stephon Castle had probably the weirdest game I've seen of him from the season, getting 3 quick fouls in the first half. Jeremy Sohan and Jared Vanderbilt wanted to start a fight. Jeremy was laughing as always because he loves to pinch nipples and start shit. And Jared Vanderbilt, when he tried to pop him, you can tell Jeremy's a very much a mixed martial artist with the way he diffused that blow. So I will say as well, like I said, I thought this was like the weirdest Stephon Castle game that I've seen because he has played so uncontrolled this season, and he really went tunnel vision, bull in a china shop vibes on this, where it was just like, fuck it, I am going to the hole every time. And sometimes it paid off for him, but he was 3 for 13 by the third, and Jeremy was 5-6 from the field. So what else do you got here, fellas?
So for this one, obviously not enough perimeter defense for Luka and for Austin Reeves. It was kind of a writing on the wall game. I thought Luka was going to have 50. He had 21 and 14 instead. It was going to be one or the other. And I'll be honest with you, fellas. Like, I was watching this game, but it's a late tip-off. I get up early for my day job. I was kind of dozy. I was getting eyelids getting a little heavy. Been motorsports at odd times. I'm not getting a good amount of sleep. And then, like, late in the game, I'm jolted awake by the dodgeball theatrics of Jeremy Sochan and Jared Vanderbilt. And a few things here. One, hilarious all around. There are a couple really funny elements. One, Jeremy throwing the ball and hitting him. It wasn't like a dodgeball peg. It was just like, hey, here, have this ball, right? And then, like, Jared Vanderbilt getting really mad about it, like, red in the face mad about it. And Jeremy Sochan basically just being like, ready for it. Like, yeah, what's up? I think it's hilarious that he got ejected for that. It's like that's getting thrown out for being annoying and having bad vibes. Like, that's really funny. And of course it was Jeremy Sochan that did that. We called that going into that game, that this was going to be a chippy one. And Jeremy Sochan would be at the center of it. So yeah, that was fun and funny to see. And of course, the other really funny part of this for me was this happened under a basket. And then, like, on the sideline at half court, there was a fan who, like, jumped up and started shadowboxing. And I just thought it was so, like, it made me smile because I was like, yeah, dudes rock, bro. That guy's amped up. Yeah, funny part of an otherwise, kind of dookie-ridden game, as Aaron said. Zach, what about you?
I think what I've taken from this game is, I think Jeremy Sochan just listens to the podcast. That's, we asked for a fight.
We have seen evidence of this between the Master Splinter comp earlier this season and now this.
Yeah.
I'm just
Jeremy,
saying,
you are obviously welcome to come on the pod.
we
Anytime
ask
you
a
want,
quick
bro.
question. We make a quick statement saying, hey, we're going to be tired. He understood it was late in the third quarter. The boys might be dozing. I need and then boom, I'm up laughing.
And he
Thank
was
you,
having
Jeremy.
a good game before that too. That was the
No, just
like-
saying, Jeremy, you just, a good energy boost for the boys. That's my take. Speaking, and we're going to transition to energy boost. The biggest energy boost I think we've seen in NBA history. Really, guys. It's never happened before. I was going to say, well, I laugh because I talked to my father after the game, and he's like, I don't think I've ever seen that before. And this is before the stat had come out. And then I called him, I'm like, hey, Dad, yeah, you're right. You have never seen that before. And Mamu is such a great guy. And even the broadcast, Sean Elliott said, like, couldn't happen to a better guy. And the way the bench reacted when he had that dunk with the Chris Paul pass, mind you, one of the better passes I think I've seen on a basketball court in probably the last year or two. He told him to cut the over the back shoulder like a Aaron Rodgers dime to the pylon, the dunk, and then it pans to the bench, and they're throwing towels in the air. They're going crazy. We're getting Mamu chants. I'm shedding tears. So I think they're chanting Manu, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're really living the golden days right now. So shout out to Mamu. Fantastic game. Where were you when Flavor said, I don't know what you're talking about, but my boy was on fire.
Dude.
That's unbelievable.
By the way, we are talking about the Spurs Knicks game here
Yes.
as well.
Sorry, we just gotta jump
Or
right
the
into it.
Mamu
It's-
game.
Yeah, it's called the
The
Mamu game.
The Spurs and Knicks have played before many times. This shit has never happened to anybody before, though.
Well, we
Dude, the
talked
Spurs
about
and
it.
Knicks need to play more. They need to play more.
Good
They're
content. Good hoop.
yeah.
Great content.
Dude.
Yeah. I cried during this game too, Zach. I actually cried twice
Twice?
that night because, well, one, like, I mean, especially on like Steph Curry's like MVP run of seasons, especially sometimes when we've seen like LeBron be so transcendent of a player. Like, man, that's like one of those things. Like, I don't know. Like, I think it just makes like basketball so beautiful. Like, you're, I'm watching on TV, and I can feel the energy of the crowd. I can feel the energy of the other team. I can feel Mamu's confidence. Like, there's something,
I mean, that's the big
quite
three right
honestly,
there.
like,
LeBron, Curry,
yeah,
and
like,
Sandro Mamu
and Mamu. Exactly. And but like it really is like something transcendent when you're seeing a player be on fire like that, where you're just like, whoa. So I was overwhelmed by the moment and I cried. And then I cried a second time that night because I finished Adolescence on Netflix. And if you want something that is going to stomp on your heart, Adolescence on Netflix. It is very heart wrenching. So yeah, what do you got,
Send a
Tom?
check. Send a check, Netflix. Hello. Dude, I'm smiling, I'm laughing. I want to make it absolutely clear that it's not to belittle Mamu, quite the opposite. It's that I am still laughing in disbelief of what I saw. And I'm not talking about 34 points in 19 minutes, which as it was happening, as he was getting up there, I was like, he didn't play the entire first quarter. He didn't play the entire third quarter. Like, we're approaching some sort of record. And I looked it up and I was like, I was ready on the button. I was like, this has literally never happened before. 34 points.
I
on
think he got
2
it
shots.
before Jordan.
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, like, you can sense when something is like, I've gotten to a point while doing this where like I know what to Google, you know, and I Googled it. But I think if you polled every member of that locker room, right? If you were like, hey, what was the more surprising part of this evening? Mamu doing that on the basketball court, or finding out that him and Flavor Flav are like actual real life friends? It's the Flavor
The
Flav thing
Flava
without a doubt.
Flav.
Like without it would be unanimous. They would all be like, yeah. I mean, I've seen him get hot in practice. I know he's got that in him. But what the fuck is? How is he
Well-
friends with Flavor Flav?
Well, Mamu's been the trick shot king of this team for the last 2 seasons. Like, if you've ever looked at the Spurs socials over the last 2 years, Mamu hits more trick shots than anyone. The dude can throw it behind, no looking at the rim from half court with one hand. I've seen him do trick shots at the Rock where they have these new like rafter kind of panels on the top, and he is shooting it off that, back spinning it into the rim, like into
And as
the
impressive
hoop, like
as all of that
switch.
is, I think that the Spurs love him for the complete opposite reason. That being that when he's on the basketball court in a game, he's always making the right play, the good play, the best play, as a matter of fact. And there were a couple of those in the fourth quarter that didn't really make a lot of the highlight reels because it's like, oh, he scored 34, pull all the buckets, put them in here, boom. But like, if you watch that fourth quarter, there were plays where he was stealing extra possessions on the glass and getting it to open shooters. There was
9
one where
rebounds.
he contested a shot at the elbow, and then a pass came over and he blocked a shot on the block in one motion. And I think my favorite play of the whole night was he's hit like 5 threes. He was 7 of 7 from 3 in this game.
Mhm.
And somewhere between like the 5th and the 7th, he catches the ball at the top of the 3-point arc, cocked and ready, and the entire 18,000 people in that arena are like, "Oh, he's pulling this and swishing it." And he goes up and just dunks a perfect pass to Sochan, who was rolling. And it was like a little double screen at the top, but yeah, just spamming Mamu pick and pops. Like that is how I like when I'm on 2K, I'm doing that same way I did with Matt Bonner back in the day. And it is gorgeous. And I think that play is a good sort of segue into the Sixers game where we saw Jeremy Sochan screen and roll and finish a lot. We saw good playmaking, great playmaking, in fact, from Devin Vassell, who had 7 assists, and from Stefan Castle, who had 14 assists, which is the most for any rookie in any game this year. This was obviously the Sixers are banged up and are having a semi-disaster.
Tom, they are tanking.
Yeah.
This is not a big up team.
Yeah, it's as are 20+% of the teams in the league. It's March Sadness. We're here. But some really positive play from your San Antonio Spurs. They had 7 guys in double figures. Devin looked really good. And I just want to say quickly, though he didn't score in double figures, maybe he did. Did he? Yeah, Blake Wesley, 10 points. 3 of 3 from 3. Kind of real. We can talk about him later. But Blake Wesley.
You mentioned Blake Wesley. Even Mitch Johnson, after the Mamu game, said if it wasn't for Mamu having his game, we'd be sitting here talking about Blake Wesley.
Yep.
I mean, he's really impressed me a lot. We even talked about it last week. But you mentioned Devin Vassell with 7 assists. I've touched on this. I think Devin Vassell is a rhythm guy. I think he loves playmaking when he gets the opportunity. And I towards the end of last season, we saw him play more of like a playmaking 2/1 guard in a way, and I think he's getting the opportunity to play it again. So I think he's flourishing, and I think that's where he flourishes best, where he can play make, get to that middle elbow, hit a jumper, get a roller. He hit Jeremy on a few great alley-oops, and Dan Weiss had a great stat about Devin the other day. Most blocks as a guard in the league since the All-Star break, tied with SGA. So shout out to Devin, because he's been balling, and he balled in this game as well.
Yeah, his defense has been great. And Tom, you touched on this in just the summary of the game, but the Mamu game was, did Jeremy start that game, or was that Bismack Biyombo?
I think that was a Jeremy game.
Because Jeremy started both of those and then went back to 2. And I think that was more just kind of like matching up on size and everything. And man, in that first Mamu game, when he was coming out there, like he was running everywhere, setting picks, short rolling to the basket everywhere. And I kept like watching that game and I was like, man, Jeremy's like got some pretty easy buckets here, I think. And then I thought there was no clear indicator that like Mitch Johnson got with the team, did some video study, and we're like, these are easy baskets for you. And Jeremy, really answered the call with his finishing in this game. And again, like it's an undersized team. I mean, he's essentially playing against Yabusele. So like it worked out really well for that. Steph Castle also had like a thunder block in this game, but a really solid win from them. And speaking of solid wins, as we went into our, 3 wins in a row, which was not something I was thinking was going to happen last week.
Undefeated since the Flava Flav photo in the tunnel.
Yeah. And we played the Raptors last night, which I know the Raptors played the game, but they were not trying. And Kurt Goldsberry on Fridays comes out with his efficiency landscape over the last 10 games. And one of the very interesting things about that efficiency landscape graphic was Spurs #1 offense over the last 10 games. Spurs last place defense, which means that we're gonna have a lot of entertaining games to close out the year.
Hey, I told you we were gonna mention the defense last week on High Praise. I told you.
Like the
I
way to
said it.
spin this is that the way that we're gonna spin this is that like the games are at the very least gonna be entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
Like, but so the Raptors though, I think really helped with our defensive efficiency because they played this game like it was an all-star game, except they literally brought out. Well, Scotty Barnes has been an all-star, but like he was not trying. They're sitting people all over the place on that team. And then we see the Spurs just come out hot. I don't think I've been more confident about a win where like we entered the like first 4 minutes of the third quarter. I was like, this game's over. Like,
Well, I
and I
was
was like,
driving
and if we
home.
lose this game, like whatever.
I was driving home listening to it on the radio. Love doing it, by the way. It makes it feel like I'm like old school back in the day driving with my pops. Listening on the radio, and it's like the final 2.5 minutes of the second quarter, and the radio announcer's like, and another 3 by Harrison Barnes, and another 3 by Devin Vassell, and Harrison Barnes again. And he's like not even enthusiastic at this point. They've hit like 5 in a row. So I get home, I'm like, oh, well, this game's over. Like, not mad about it. And then once again, like third quarter, this game was over. And I knew the game was over when back-to-back possessions, Devin Vassell throwing a behind-the-back pass, Blake Wesley throwing a behind-the-back pass. I was like, oh, they're taking the piss. It's the middle of the third quarter.
That was 3 possessions in a row that they did behind the back passes. I was like, oh, y'all are really fucking around now.
So I'm saying, like, oh, this game, they don't give.
But like, I think it was the appropriate amount of fucking around. Like, it was actually the finding out for the Raptors. Yeah, I mean, it was a good combination of defensive intensity from the good guys and offensive ineptitude from the bad guys. Spurs shot great in this game. The Raptors, who the Spurs will play again before the season
To close out the
over.
season.
And they are not going to want to win that basketball game.
It was Windhorst who, like, a couple weeks ago, he was like, Brandon Ingram has the worst sprained ankle in the history of sprained ankles, and then they started getting fined. Yeah.
Wendy
They
rat
have
people
players
out.
on that team, but they don't play. Like Emmanuel quickly just like randomly sits, and like last night they're like, Scotty Barnes, like you can kind of play. Like go out there and get your heart rate up, bud. Like
Jakob didn't
and-
play.
yeah, Jakob didn't play, but
we
like
talk all the time about how
I-
players don't tank, organizations tank. Like, this organization
this is a little
is tanking.
different.
It
Yeah.
feels like a
And,
combo.
I mean, like players don't tank, but listen, man, if work is a big enough pain in the ass, sometimes you fucking mail it in that day. You know?
Yeah.
I think
I-
work
I
is a
wanna-
pain in the ass for
before-
the Toronto Raptors.
Working
right
on
now.
Sunday, I'm good.
But before we jump to our next segment, I want to shout out Bismack Biyombo of continuing a Spurs tradition of being in the starting lineup and being in the deep bench lineup, the victory cigar lineup at the end of the game. Last year it was Julian Champagny, starter at the 3, and then also he would play games that we were either winning or by a lot or getting blown out by a lot. In this game, Bismack Biyombo did the same. So shout out to him because he looked very comfortable on the bench, and he and Chris Paul were just sitting next to each other. They just looked very cozy, and we're like, yeah, we're in Toronto. Like, this is a great multicultural city. Probably thinking about where they're going to go get dinner after the game. And then Mitch Johnson's like, hey, Bismack, get your ass back in the game. You got about 10 more minutes to do. He's like,
All right, remember to set some screens.
God damn it.
Shout out to Bismack
Well,
Biyombo. Little high praise for him, and
Yeah.
we're gonna come back and give some more high praise.
hey, welcome back, everybody. Some things you missed during the break. Me talking about pickup adventures from today, but we'll leave that for another time. Other things,
don't wanna
Tom
see
wanted
him
to
on the
do another
court.
Waterloo ad. Yeah, Tom wanted to do another Waterloo ad, but I've already cut that, so you won't have to worry about it. What we will get into is Tom is going to kick us off with high praise, where we give positive feedback to Spurs related topics from the last week. So Tom, what you got, my man?
I gotta give a big shout out to Waterloo's summer berry flavor.
Oh, fuck off.
God damn it, Tom.
No, I'm kidding. Devin Vassell. I think people owe him an apology. And I think that for a few reasons. One, people were really mean to Devin Vassell when he had a admittedly stinky month of February, which, by the way, was a rather tumultuous one for the San Antonio Spurs as an organization. You bring in De'Aaron Fox, the role changes. Victor Wembanyama done for the season. Greg Popovich done for the season. It was a lot. It was a lot of stuff that happened. And
Rodeo road trip, on the road a lot, all-star break.
it was a lot. And he was bad. He averaged 13 points. He shot 25% from three and under 40% from the floor. And people were talking about him like, you know, he was a leper, right? And this guy is in his 5th year in the NBA. And there have been exactly 3 months now where he shot below 30% from three. He's got a pretty reliable floor around 33% over any given stretch. He has hot games and he has cold games from time to time, but overall he's been really consistent. And yeah, February stunk. March has been the best month of his season. He's up to like 19 points a game in March. He's shooting like 40% from three in March. He is like looking confident, which was sort of the big struggle, and locking in on defense. And when I think about the roster construction for this team, I think about how his contract goes down to what'll be like 13% of the cap in the last 2 years of it. If you're talking about a tertiary player next to De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama, a wing who can get his own bucket, stretch the floor, switch on defense, and, you know, takes up that level of cap. I don't know. I think it might be worth keeping around. What about you guys? What have you seen from Devin Vassell of late here?
Maybe all you.
Dude, I mean, I think the only other thing I could add to that, Tom, is that when he doesn't, quote unquote, have it going from offense, I think that he's done such a great job of still finding ways to contribute. Yeah, man. I mean, Zach, that was a crazy stat you brought up earlier about like most blocks for a guard, like post All-Star game. I mean, in the month of March, the Spurs are 7-6 as a whole. And yeah, the fact that I see him hustling, I see him going for rebounds, I see him even when something's not going offensively, he's still figuring some things out. He's still taking some difficult shots, but he's finding his way around the glass work as well with that. So I am with you, Tom. Got to really give it up to Devin Vassell and what he's been bringing, especially these last 2 weeks.
I'll save my Devin Vassell stuff for a little later. We'll have a conversation about him with y'all. So
Okay.
and I think if I say what I say now, then there's no point in saying it later because then we'll have the conversation now. So we'll just save it. We'll keep the people on their toes.
Well, Zach, what do you got?
So Keldon Johnson is going to be my high praise. I know we've talked about him before, but I got into a little 3-man lineup. I like looking at 3-man lineup stuff because I think if you look at 5-man lineups, you don't get a lot of minutes with just like a 5-man set lineup. 3-man, you get a lot more combinations. You get a lot more minutes played together. The Spurs have had 29 lineups that have played more than 75 minutes this month. Keldon Johnson, and there's 6 that are net positive. Keldon Johnson's 5 of them, which I think is a pretty interesting stat. And if you go down the list, the first one you get is Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Stephon Castle, a plus 3.1 on the court together. And you got to go down a little further. And they played 138 minutes together. Then you go down a little further. Next one you get is Keldon Johnson, Julian Champagnie, Jeremy Sochan. They played 124 minutes together. Then you go down a little further. The best plus minus on this list I have is going to be Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, and Jeremy Sochan at a plus 27, and they played 118 minutes together, which is they score 124 points, so they up 96 points together.
Can you say that one
Um,
more time, Zach? Hold on.
You
Damn,
had-
Zach, that's some good shit.
You have Keldon Johnson, who with Devin Vassell and Jeremy Sochan, who have played 118 minutes together. It's not a small sample size, has a 3-man lineup. Their plus minus is plus 27 on the court together. 124 points, giving up 96. That's great. Then you go down a little further. You got Keldon Johnson, Julian Champagne, Jeremy Sochan again. Then you have another great one. I mean, these are just, we're talking unbelievable. And then the only one you had that's not with Keldon Johnson is Julian Champagne, Stephon Castle, and Devin Vassell. Devin Vassell is littered in a few of these, but the best one you see, a lot of these are with.
It's a good mix of like, starters and bench players. Keldon, I feel like, is a kind of the ultimate plug and play guy, right? You can just throw him into any lineup of 4 NBA players and it would be like, yeah, he works there.
So I thought that was extremely
He
interesting.
has.
The fact that that they have 6 of them that have played 75 minutes or more together that are plus minus, or the plus in the net rating. It's Keldon Johnson's 5 of them. Mega that what
Yo,
you will.
that's wild. Well, I mean, that's a great one, Zach. Thank you for sharing that.
Excellent research.
Me, for my high praise, I've been noticing on the internet this year, especially in the basketball parts of the internet, that there's been this trend about people saying like, I can't believe we got this demon. Look at this guy. And then it's, essentially highlights of one of the Thompson twins. Well, guess what, Spurs fans? I think we got at least 3 demons on this team, and I want to give them some high praise. First one, still leading as of this recording in the Kia Rookie of the Year ladder, Stephon Castle. If you don't think this fool is not a demon, I don't know what to tell you. Especially when his hair starts growing out again, he does the pineapple stuff. He's got horns coming that he's hiding under those, because that man is a demon on the court. He's coming to do some thunder blocking on your ass, and he's coming to just get bull in the china shop. Dude, this dude's deceleration is so amazing.
He's so crafty, man. Like there have been some of these crossovers where it's like the first crossover is nasty, and then the guy's late reacting to that, and by the time he reacts to that, you're already getting crossed over again. So
Stephon Castle would have been a great camp counselor for me in the summer. I've never been a good arts and crafts person, but Stephon Castle, the way he plays basketball, is artful and crafty. So that's demon number 1.
I think we need to change his name to D-Cell King instead of Hezzy King. That's my only gripe. But we
doesn't
we
roll
move
off
on.
the tongue as well. Aaron,
It
keep going.
doesn't, but we got to call the move what it is. All right, that's what it is.
We'll brainstorm this offline and over the off season, going into Area 51 2.0 next season. Second demon, Blake Wesley. Holy shit. This dude seems to be, every time he's on the court, one of the pluses of the team. Yesterday, Raptors, they're like, oh, you know what? Let's pick up Blake Wesley full court. Do it. The dude is going to put the burners on, and he is going to go coast to coast. I've loved his change of direction. I've loved the way that he's able to control his speed these days. He has been amazing, and he is still a demon on defense. That dude is getting after it every which way.
If Blake Wesley picked me up, I'd pass the ball. If he just walks in the gym and I'm playing basketball, he could just be attending the game. I'm passing the ball.
A gigantic pain
Bro,
in
if
the ass,
Blake
looks
Wesley
like.
looks at me, if Blake Wesley looks at me, I'm running the opposite direction, because I just don't want to be that annoyed in my life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm old enough to be try to mitigate stresses in my life. So now I'm going to go on to third demon. All right. He is our pink-haired demon, Jeremy Sochan. Now, stands, as always, stand the fuck up for this dude. We've seen him go small ball. We've seen him play out of position. We see him play our center position. Then we see him play defensive, point of attack defender. Dude's been amazing. In the last 5 games, he's been a +7 for the Spurs. And one of the couple of these interesting, plus minus lineups, guess what? He can play with Stephon Castle on the court. All right. Still that same lineup that I told y'all about a couple weeks ago. The Champagne, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, and Stephon Castle. That lineup right there. You put those 4 in the future with De'Aaron Fox. You put him with Devin Vassell. You put him with Victor Wembanyama. You put him with the hottest scorer in the league, Sandro Mamu. Guess what? You're going to make a run in that game. So I want to shout out 3 demons that we got on the team. And I hope as a fan base, we start using that term more openly about our
guys,
perimeter
if you're
defenders.
somebody who dribbles the ball in an NBA game, you don't want to see this guy.
Nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with any
3 of them.
I think, yeah, well, Steph is Steph. Jeremy, you know what you're gonna get from Jeremy. I think I'm more petrified of Blake Wesley. Like, this is my honest take on this. If Blake Wesley is picking me up full court, I'm like, fuck. Like, this my day just got ruined. Like, just like that. Like,
And
I love Jeremy. I think, but like, he's one of those guys. If you get him, he's like, you're not like even like you don't want to get him. It's almost like you don't like you're like you don't want to cry. He's like, oh, even more aggressive.
Think about what it is like to have these 3 guys throw De'Aaron Fox in there when he gets back. Being able to replace speed with speed when Fox has to go to the bench, and the guy who he's guarding is like, oh, thank God, I get a breather. And then Blake Wesley comes in like, it's like,
Even worse.
demoralizing. It's demoralizing.
Guess what? I'm really excited to play.
Yeah.
Like,
And then you're like, wait, hold on, time out. Let's chill out a little bit.
I want to say one last thing about Blake Wesley before we get into questions next week. I've never seen a dude, and this is what I think really attests to his athleticism. I've never seen a dude be so wide in his leg stance and still be so quick. Most of the time, you're told as a defender, whether it's in basketball or it's football, it's soccer, is to keep your legs at hips length so that you're quick, so that you're agile with that. This dude is like 3/4 down on the ground in a defensive stance, wide as hell. And guess what? He can keep up with anyone in the league. It's insane.
That's a good point.
Well, that being
His
said,
speed is crazy, but the movement is also like unorthodox in that way. It's like it's very slinky and sneaky and like kind of like the purple one from Monsters Inc. almost.
kind of.
Like,
interesting.
you know what I'm saying? But fuck, I forgot his name.
But I don't know, Tom. Let's go to questions from the week.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll figure it out. It'll come back to me. Yeah, question. We got a question. We've talked about what we've seen, and now it's time to look forward and stuff. So let's ask
Yeah.
some questions.
And listeners, I want to encourage y'all to give your own answers to these questions in the comments. All right? Like, we're giving takes. We want to hear your takes. As always, please be respectful of one another. But nonetheless, I'm gonna kick this first one off.
You can have a little discourse, unfriendly discourse.
It was Randall.
Discourse.
It was Randall
But
Boggs.
let's be
The
respectful.
purple guy in my out there.
Okay, I'm not going to be derailed by this. All right, fellas, I got first question. Weren't we supposed to be losing the rest of the year? And what the hell is going on with this team? Zach, you seem to have the most opinion on this one. Go.
I'm happy for the boys. And I think, honestly, it gets to the point where I think we've hit the threshold where we've already won too much. So it's like, hey, let's just keep winning some more games. I'm not opposed to it. They're already flirting with whatever. And I think with the schedule coming up, we've talked about this. We had a few games in this final run that we're going to be like, oh, we're probably going to win those games. We're going to come across some games towards the end of the stretch. We're like, this is going to be tough. We got Cleveland twice, Golden State, Boston. We have some jugs coming up. So I think this will all balance itself out as well. But I love the boys winning. Do you think I'm gonna get mad about watching? I've always said this. I love watching my boys win.
Yeah,
So I don't
man.
care what the context is. Win's a win.
It's more fun that
Love it.
way. Like, listen, I think here's the thing, right? Like, rabbits have evolved to like when they get like when a predator comes and grabs them, they just sort of roll over. They're like, it's easier if you just, finish this quick, right? That's like an evolutionary thing. And I think over the years, some Spurs fans have developed a little bit of that when watching their team play. And like bad stuff happens toward the end of the season. It's like, I don't even want to win any more games. Give me the ping pong balls, right? But we talk about it all the time on this show. Organizations tank, players don't. Every one of these guys is playing for something. That's a huge like this week for Blake Wesley has been huge for his NBA career. Mamu will hold that record for a little bit. He will always have the Flava Flav game. Like that is something that you tell your grandkids about, right? And it is also all of this is happening in the ecosystem of growing team chemistry, of these guys rooting for each other and supporting each other and uplifting each other in a year that has been really, really difficult for a lot of unanticipated and bigger than basketball reasons. Yeah, like, and let's just acknowledge the mathematicals here, boys. The Spurs are 2.5 games out of the 10 seed, and the teams ahead of them are the Bad Vibes Suns, the Dallas Mavericks, who
Got
are
80 that
Anthony
tonight, though.
Davis just returned tonight.
okay. Will that end the plague that's been cast on their house? And then you got
They
the
did win
Trailblazers
tonight.
who shouldn't be winning, right? So you look at that and you're like, why not tell all the guys that are healthy in that locker room to go out and push for it? Why not root for them and cheer them on and be excited when it goes their way? It's fun, man. It's fun to see the Spurs win basketball games. What do you think?
I agree. I agree, man. I think one, they're just playing so loose.
Yeah.
Like they are just playing loose. They're playing in a way that, if you're listening still to this podcast and not watching games, like shout out to you to being a certain type of sicko for your boys here. Like we really appreciate that.
It just really like Zach's mustache.
But I gotta say, like, watch these games. This team is still entertaining to watch. The ball is moving all over the place on offense. Yeah, we don't have a good defense, so our games turn into shootouts, and we still have like a decent defense. Now we're obviously going to get tested this coming week, with some real jockeying for playoff teams. But man, like there is still a lot of fun to see in this team. Julian Champagny, we've seen when he gets hot, like he lights it up. Jeremy Sohan still doing great. Bismack Biyombo, maybe he's making a case to be the backup big next season right now. Like he seems to be fitting pretty well. Harrison Barnes, if he misses the three, he's making the other one. It's literally just math with him. That's how crazy like he's shooting corner threes.
It's
So
all,
there's still a lot to enjoy.
all of this stuff it's fun when it's good, and even when it's bad, it's important for these guys' development. I know a lot of people are sick of hearing about that, but I think that sort of leads into a question that Zach has moving forward. Zach, what do you got?
Well, I think we've touched on a few different things with Devin Vassell. You mentioned, Tom, about his role as the number one guy when people are out or when they're not on the court with him. AB has mentioned it as well, how he plays. That brings a question. We've seen him play fantastic with, I'm not going to say without our two best players. I'm not saying Devin's not up there with a great player. I think I had a conversation at the beginning of the season where I mentioned like what is Jeremy's best role for this team to get him the most touches and where that fits. And like with Devin, where do y'all see him using what he's doing now and using it into next season. And like, I guess if you want to hear my take now, I'll wait till y'all say y'all's take or whatever y'all go. But like, I have a
Start us
certain
off.
opinion, not even a hot take. Like, I think when I said it with Jeremy, I wanted Jeremy to have the ball in his hands the most, and like the opportunity to like grow and like facilitate and be the guy that I think he could be, with the guy off the dribble, develop a shot. So like with Devin, we mentioned that his playmaking. I talked about it at the beginning of the season, what I saw last year with him and Wemby, when Devin was like the playmaker in a pick and roll situation, how he operated. He had multiple games with 5+ assists towards the end of the season last year with 20+ points. You're like, okay, that's a good performance. He did it against Philly. Same type of performance, 21 points, 7 assists, where you're seeing like he is a facilitator as well. But also like he's getting the ball a lot more. And it's just the way that like the team is built right now. And I think the best place for me personally when next season comes around is let Keldon and let Devin go crazy from the bench like they should, and like let them be the Tasmanian Devils and get as many shots as they need to get up. Because what is the like? It's the Manu Ginobili role, and it's the ultimate Manu Ginobili role. And we've seen that Devin was in a lot of those 3-man lineups that I said that the plus minus this month was positive for him. He was in 3 of the 5 positive ones that Keldon was in. So to sit there and say he's
I've
not
got-
like positive,
I hear what you're saying, and I get it, and I don't necessarily disagree. I think that the rest of this season is valuable for seeing what he can look like in that sort of role, right? In a, hey, De'Aaron is on the bench and, Wemby's got a night off,
or you're playing with Wemby. It don't even have to
Right.
be Wemby's on. It could be De'Aaron's on the bench.
I think in a, like, I mentioned this before with, the being a tertiary option on this team. Sometimes you're going to be the primary option on the court, right? And we know he can go get tough buckets. We know he can play make for himself and others. We know that also, I mean, if you're building a team around that high pick and roll, that speed rush of Wemby and De'Aaron Fox, right? You want shooting around that, right? Devin Vassell's a reliable shooter, and good attacking off the. I think having that scoring, primarily off the bench, would be valuable. But if it's truly a Manu Ginobili role, then they're sharing a lot of time with the starters as well. So I can see,
And that was
but
kind
I
of
also
the
think
point
he'd
where
be a
it's
good
like
starter on this team still.
it lets him get in a rhythm to come off the bench, let him get a flow in the game, let him get what he feels necessary for him. Is like he's a rhythm guy. I think a lot of we've all played basketball. It's like ball's in my hand. I feel better about myself. I'm dribbling the ball. I don't have to be scoring. I just dribbling the ball and getting things moving. And when it is a 2-man offense, like it is probably going to be set for Wemby and
It's a
De'Aaron.
question of, do you try to maximize him, or do you maximize what the team needs with what he can provide? And I think for him, it's sort of the second one. Aaron, what do you think?
He probably is maximized as a player off the bench. He is probably, I don't think, going to come off the bench. And part of that is we've talked about like players that like know their role already. Keldon, we've seen like really thrive in that 6th man role of coming off the bench. Like he understands now his role, and it's been essentially like a season and 2/3 to get there, but like he's got it. I imagine that Devin, like, I don't know, this is one of those times that like I just don't know that there's like enough basketballs to go around when you have Wemby and De'Aaron Fox. But also this is where we brought up in this episode specifically around him that like he is finding other ways to contribute. So what I want to see the rest of the season is, if your shot's not falling, you're contributing in other ways to like get other people going, and part of that too for Devin is, and we've seen this, especially when he had that like scoring outburst a few weeks back. You see, there was like a sigh of relief, and it's just like, hey, like you cannot think about whether or not the ball is going in and how that's going to affect your play on the other side. You've just got to play. And so that's really what I want to see from him. And I mean, right now, like, I think it's so weird. Like, I feel like the bench is like, with the exception of like a backup center, like it's pretty solid. Like, but if we're looking forward to next year, well, De'Aaron Fox, everything goes well with the finger, he's back. Wendy, everything's good there. Is Chris Paul going to be around? We don't know. Is Harrison Barnes? I mean, he's going to still be under contract. Are we still going to have Harrison Barnes, or is he going to move to the bench? Is Jeremy going to earn his starting spot back? It's just kind of like we need. I don't know. Looking into next season at the moment, like we have some good guys, but do we have the pieces that fit properly for what this team needs to do when it's at full strength? And I don't fully know yet.
I think we need like one more
I'll leave that
Julian
with Devin.
Champagny in like the starting lineup, like a rant 3 and D type guy.
The reason why you go with a
That's-
guy like Julian Champagny in the starting lineup is because it's 3 and D, but it's also it could be just D depending on how the rest of the
Right.
guys are doing, right? Like
Right. He's cool with
might
that.
have 4
To your
touches in the
point,
first
to your
half.
point, the role
That's it.
the role is more defined.
Yeah.
The role is more defined with someone like Julian Champagne. I can't say, despite like what Devin has done this year, and despite the February, we still don't really know what his role is. We thought coming into the season, you're the number 2. He's hurt. He comes off the bench. Does pretty well as a 6-man. Enter, heals up, gets off his minutes restriction. It turns out to like be the number 3 because Stephon Castle's coming along. To your point, Tom, then we made a trade for De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox and Wemby play barely any games together, but like that's a 1 and 2. Now you're a 3, but are you a 3 because of Stephon Castle? Then you're a 4.
And then oh wait,
So, like,
everybody's hurt and now you're 1 or 2 again.
Now you're 1 or 2 again. So like his role is still just like undefined in a tumultuous season, essentially. And so like we just don't know right now. I mean, like I don't know. I don't feel like that's like a cop-out answer, but like if I'm really zooming out on this, like I don't think we really know what his role is. Like I said, I think he gets maximized off the bench, but like because to your point, Zach, he can go out and like spray and pray like all day long. But
we're good with him creating and off the bench because that's a lot of what you need for off the bench. The bench is a guy you need a guy who can go get it, and a bunch of guys around who know how to play with them. And like you have 2 guys who you can go get it with Keldon and Devin, and who else you sprinkling with around it. Like you have good playmakers there and good shooters. It allows them to get. I think that's what helped Keldon. Keldon's realized he can get in a rhythm and go. I think he's understanding his opponents are a lot not weaker, but he has a mismatch on a lot of these guys that he drives on, knowing that he's coming off the bench. And it gets him in a rhythm. It gets him feeling good. We all play basketball. Ball goes to the hoop. I'm feeling great. I don't care who's playing me.
Yeah. Hey, we're talking about role players, and I think that's a good transition to my question, which is that Mamu game got me thinking because this immediately goes right straight to the top of the list, right?
to the top.
But what are some of your guys' favorite like the most random 30 burger from a Spurs player? We've had some good ones in recent memory. The Devontae Graham debut, the Keita Bates Diop burning down the Staples Center. It doesn't count in this, but it might as well. Lonnie Walker, 28 points, 19 in the fourth quarter. The dunk that wasn't for James Harden. These are some things.
Man,
that jump to mind for me.
I would go with the Lonnie Walker one for me personally because it was an excellent night of shit talking my Rockets fan friends.
It means
that
more
night.
against the Rockets. It always does.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously didn't pan out for Lonnie, but that was really like, whoa, we've arrived.
Yeah.
Whoa, this guy floats. Like he takes 2 steps and like this he's got the super cool hair. Wow,
I had a
he's hitting
video
quarter
of that night
threes.
that was like the Lonnie Walker era is upon us. I was I've been and I still am a big time believer in Lonnie Walker.
He's a great athlete
Yeah.
and everything too, but I would have to do the Lonnie Walker game like specifically. That's one where like I have specific memories of watching the game.
It's visceral. It's so and the thing is
Yeah.
they needed every one of those buckets, right? And he pulled
Yeah.
up from like 30 feet for the win. Just stones. Shout out Lonnie Walker, man. Zach, what about you?
Which one you got, Zach?
My favorite, and I think we're breaking rules here since we're doing 20-point games in there. I think Gary Neal's 7 3-point shots in the 2013 NBA Finals. And then Danny Green matched him with 7 threes as well. But we're not going to go. But Gary Neal, the random. I remember being at the game with my dad, and some Miami Heat fan was so mad that we were standing up after every three. And we're like, well, fucking stop it then. Don't get mad at me. What do you want me to do? Like, it's Gary Neal shooting threes. Of course I'm going to get up. You see this? So that might be one of the more. Yeah, I look back on that was fun. That was a good time. Shout Gary
I
Neal.
have one
Hello?
personal memory here. It wasn't like that high scoring a night, but I was home in New York. They were playing in Brooklyn, and my buddy's a Nets fan, and we went, and I'm like on the train into the arena, and we get the notification that like Tim's out, and like, you know, oh, bummer. But that meant Boban got like big minutes, and he was going ape shit. And I bumped into RC Buford at this game, and I was just giving him like unsolicited advice on how to do his job. I'm like, hey man, I'm like, you should play Boban 40 minutes a game or so. He's like, yep, okay, got it. And I was like, I've got the key to beating the Warriors death ball lineup. I've got it right here for you. Free game. Just use it. And he was like, okay, what? And I was like, it's the Killer Bees. It's Boban, Bonner, and Boris Diaw, and you'll win about 80 games. And he was like, there's a lot of good players sitting if you do that, though. And I'm like, yeah, but you got the best ones playing. And he's like,
The fact that RC Buford entertained this, the architect of like Spurs champion,
it's like,
that
it
yeah,
sounds
that's
like,
so
it
tight.
sounds like I'm like, you know, fluffing this. This is almost verbatim what I said on that night. So, but
RC was
like,
a great guy. Great guy.
oh, really
Bought-
cool.
bought us a-
But
bought
yeah,
us a round of
the memory of Boban going nuts that night and me being like, this is perfect. I can tell RC to play him more. I'm like, you see what he's doing out there, right? How do you stop that?
Oh man. Well, dudes, let's transition into the upcoming week. We're recording this on Monday night. It's gonna be out on Tuesday. So tonight, your Spurs are gonna be playing the Detroit Pistons in Detroit. Detroit basketball is back. And this is a big ass team. I walked by Cade Cunningham and Asar Thompson in the tunnel at the Moody Center when they were here, and I was just like, Jesus Christ. They have that demon Asar Thompson on their team? They are good. They are vying for Eastern Conference positioning for the playoffs. And guys, I'm gonna predict another fight. Beef Stew, Jeremy Sohan.
Yeah.
Let's fucking
Jeremy,
go.
if you're listening
What
to
do you
this
guys got?
pregame, we want it's a 6 o'clock tip, so you can make it real. We can make it later on in the game. We won't be
Anytime.
that tired. Yeah, it's anytime. No
They can
rush.
spot
No,
right
don't.
when the team needs a little jolt. When
Yeah.
It's
If there is
getting a
slow
little
start,
too Detroit for you.
yeah.
Reset the vibes.
yeah. If you're listening pregame, all you big dog.
Cade is a game time decision in this one.
Steph as well.
Right. So we'll see who plays. We'll see how it goes. The Pistons are the 6th seed in the East. This is not an easy game. Neither is the next one, or the one after that, or the one after that. They've got the Cavs Thursday night.
Or the one after that.
Dude,
It's gonna be be rough.
let me just very quickly lay out the recent escapades of these Spurs opponents. The Cavs won 16 in a row. They lost 4 in a row. They got off the schneid. The Cavs started this season, you may remember, with a 15-game win streak. They've also had a 12-game win streak this year. Absolutely ridiculous team. Completely insane team.
Great team, incredibly fun to watch. There is some offensive tactics that they employ that I highly encourage everybody listening to this to watch the game, or at least watch highlights from the game. One of the things that Kenny Atkinson talks about with this team is cutting to create space. That's kind of his offensive philosophy in this game. One of the things we typically see with the Spurs is there's an initial action, and sometimes if it's not going, then it kind of becomes jazz music. The offense for the Cavs is not jazz music. It is math rock. It is highly, highly calculated. And I would just encourage y'all to watch it because you do have these two amazing creators and playmakers with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. And then, you throw Evan Mobley and Jared Allen into that. And they're really good. And they're very fun to watch. So highly encourage watching the Cavs.
I was having beers with my two favorite Cavs friends, Matt and Larry Chernoskis. Shout out to them, listeners of the show. My buddy and his dad. And Larry, the dad, was like, "Oh, the Cavs, 4 losses in a row." And I'm like, "Larry, I want to hear it from you, all right? Like, it's like, geez, you've won 16 games in a row and you're crying. Like, what is going on?" So
They're crazy
Cavs are
good.
great basketball
Zach,
team.
shout out to you for talking to Larry that way, but also for all of us. We knew Larry was the dad.
Yes,
Right.
yeah,
Larry is the dad's name.
Like,
Larry is a dad name for sure. Speaking of Larrys, the Spurs then play against the Boston Celtics. Talking about hot teams, the Celtics, defending champions of this National Basketball Association, have won 10 of their last 11. That's crazy. And then, oh, by the way, the next day you play the Golden State Warriors, who are 16-4 since the Jimmy Butler trade. God damn.
All right. We're not winning this Celtics game because they're going to pull out those Trace Leches white boys that can shoot threes. And
You see how
it's
some
going to be
Lakers
very
fans tried
annoying.
to steal that
can we
swag?
get an over under? Can we get an over
I did.
under on how many threes the Boston Celtics should we do shoot or make in the first half of this game?
They're going to attempt.
Shoot in the first half,
Shoot in the
13.
what?
13 at least.
They're going to be
Both
third-
shoot 13
30
threes.
from three.
No,
at
we're
least.
over under 30 threes in the first half taken. Do they go over or under?
Oh, under
You-
in the first half for the game.
The Celtics,
The
had
Celtics averaged
18.
like 63 a
they
game.
had 18 in the first quarter against Spurs last time they played. I think
Oh,
it's a doable.
I'm looking this up because it's insane.
What happened to the game I love?
They-
Well, I'm setting the line. Are they going over 30 or under 30? Because that's what the Celtics
the
do. I
Celtics
think they go
average. The Celtics
60.
average 48 3-point attempts a game.
okay. So I'll set it 28. Are they over that in the first half?
28.
Attempted threes,
Wow.
not made. Attempted.
Well, they are playing us.
See,
I'm gonna take the under, but barely 27.
okay, I'm taking the over. Tom,
I'm saying over. Yeah, 48.2 3-point attempts
Okay.
per game, and they're shooting 37%. Yeah.
oh yeah,
they're-
okay.
Missoula ball. I understand why people hate watching it. I understand, but it sucks to get it crammed down your throat. It's not fun.
I just don't like Joe Mazzulla. I think he's the biggest fucking weirdo in the league.
I love
Um,
Joe Mazzulla because he's the biggest weirdo in the league. Wait, you don't like weirdos?
I don't know, man. There's a darkness there that just doesn't seem okay.
Yeah, it's Catholic guilt. I say that as a
Tom,
recovering cat.
I'm aware that it's Catholic guilt, but I don't know. There's something there that I don't know. It just it disturbs me. Another thing that disturbs me is the Golden State Warriors, and I will say I think if we're gonna steal a game this week in the next week, I think it's gonna be against Golden State. I don't know why. I just have a feeling that like if we were to steal a game, if there was a team that I think could genuinely take their foot off the gas. I think it's Golden State. That's really all I got to say about that.
Can I say this? I think that.
No, you can't.
Oh, never mind.
No, you can't.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry. Yeah. No. Thank you. I think that Sochan kind of takes the Draymond matchup very seriously because people use that as a comp, and I think Jeremy goes into those games and it's like, I'm better than that guy. Like and I'm bigger than that guy. Like, if he wants to punch me, that's great. Like, but I think that's something that he takes serious, and I think that this is another, potential for fireworks game when you've got two guys on the other side in Draymond and Jimmy Butler who are, sort of on the antagonistic side. Definitely a little bit of a sandpaper pain in the ass element. So that'll be funny to watch and see if they take exception to any of his nipple pinching antics and, the feeling of his elbows on their rib cages. And, we'll see how that goes.
Steph is recovering from a pelvic injury. Should be back, though. MRIs came back clean. Man,
Hardball. That was tough.
let me just say, I love watching Steph Curry play. So I just hope he's healthy. I hope that Steph Castle's healthy so we can get a Steph on Steph matchup offensively against Steph's defense. Who am I talking about? You figure it out. It's a little, which Steph is on offense, which Steph is on defense. I don't know, but I think that has the potential to be a great game. And also on top of the fact that, guys, the Boston, I don't think we're saying it. When you play the Boston Celtics and then the Warriors back to back in 2 days, that's as a basketball fan, that's sick. One of the last few finals champions you get to watch, and then it's two great teams. That's
it's 3 games
be
in
thankful.
4 nights, and all 3 of the teams are insane.
yeah, be thankful.
Measuring stick week for this team. And with that, as
They're
you
gonna
can
get
tell
beat
by
up by
looking
the
at the
measuring
runtime
stick.
on this episode, as y'all can tell, we're still here. We're still excited. We still have about 3 weeks left in the season, and
3 more
excited
episodes
to
in.
see where it Yeah, well, we're gonna do this into the off season too, dog. Come on, we got plenty of stuff here
And
to talk about. So
we got Austin Spurs basketball. They're going to the playoffs. They're going to be they're shooting for a bye in the playoffs. We actually went to the game, me and Zach. We talked to Kyle Mangus, who was red hot to start and got put back to win the game. Electric game against the top seeded Salt Lake City Stars. We're going to try to fix and judge some video from that. It came out all right, but we can make it better and, make a little video on that. So keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for Austin Spurs basketball. It's going to be a fun time. But also, San Antonio Spurs basketball. 3 wins in a row. Who would have thought? Hello, and welcome to a very special episode, small piece of content, whatever this is, of the Silver and Black Coffee Hour from the HEB Center here in Cedar Park.
This is not our new studio.
Not yet. It would be cool though. I mean, it's spacious. We got enough room out here. We can get the elbows out.
Go play some basketball afterwards. You never know.
We're clearly missing the most luscious hooper among the 3 of us, Aaron Blackerby. We miss you, AB. He's busy getting silky smooth buckets off of one leg.
Or hanging out with his mom. Either one.
Either one of the two. But in any case, we miss you, Aaron. We would prefer it if you were here, but we are here because we couldn't pass up a chance to see one of the best teams in the G League this year. The Austin Spurs, San Antonio Spurs, not technically eliminated from the playoff race. I was looking with curiosity at the bottom of the standings there.
Yourself.
I'm not getting emotionally invested. I'm just looking with curiosity. But there is no curiosity about this Austin Spurs team. They are going to the playoffs. The only question really is, will they have a bye in the first round? And if they're a top 2 seed, they can do it. And it's within striking distance. They've got a huge game today against the Salt Lake City Stars, who are currently occupying that top spot. But this has been a fantastic Austin Spurs team. Zach, we've seen a couple of games so far this year. What has jumped out to you so far watching this team play here?
The pace of play is fantastic. It is super fast. Go to the free throw line. It's one free throw. You better make it. That's one of my favorite rules.
There are a couple of interesting G League quirks that we have seen going to these. The last game we were at, when Malachi Branham came to get some minutes, get some buckets, and buckets he did get. But that game went to overtime, and there was an Elam ending.
Points.
Yeah, and I've never seen that, and it ended on free throws, which was kind of crazy. We got to sit down with Harrison Ingram, really impressive young man, and I've been impressed with his play here for this team. He's 6'5", and he leads this team in rebounding with almost 10 per game. He's been a really crucial part of what this team is doing on both sides of the floor. I want to highlight the defense really quick because the Austin Spurs, not only do they have the best defensive rating in the league by a wide margin, it would be the best defensive rating going back several years to the 21 season in the G League. So they are really clamping down on that end of the floor, which at any professional level is impressive, but especially at a development level with young guys, with turnover, and with, playing a 6'5" center sometimes, that is a really, I think, remarkable achievement and sort of the cornerstone of how they've gotten to this point.
Is it weird that I'm going to say he kind of gives me like a Draymond Green connector vibes for this team out here?
I think that's a good comp here because the one area where he's lacking is that three-point shot, but he's a very good defender. He's a good playmaker for his size and position. A bit ambidextrous. You asked him about that when we talked to him. Guard skills. And, I guess there's a question of like, what does he need to do to get to that next level? But for right now, I mean, we're watching him be an impact player. And speaking of impact players, leading scorer for this team is Malachi Flynn, owner of a 50-point game in the NBA. I don't care what the situation is. That's hard. Look, yeah, we'll keep it rolling. We got the team coming out onto the court today. We'll see how this sounds. We're trying something new. We're seeing how this live event production goes, especially with these microphones that we're holding in our hands.
And no one producing behind the camera.
Right.
It's just the boys.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. I'm hoping it goes good because I love doing stuff like this.
This is great.
Zach, what are you looking for? What is the key to the game today?
Once again, I talked about it earlier, pace of play. They love to score. And with this G League, the way it works, you have to score it. You mentioned defense. The Austin Spurs are great at on the defensive end. It's the G League. We're seeing pace of play. The whole point of this league is to score, boys.
Well, we'll check in with some friends around the arena, maybe. We'll check in later. But yeah, thank you guys. We'll see you later. Go Spurs, go.
And an exciting, fast-paced game it was at the HEB Center. A lot of lead changes in this one. The Spurs got off to a fast start. Kyle Mangus leading an 8-0 charge for the Spurs out of the gate. Mangus led the team with 22 points in this game. Really, really solid performance. Another good game for Harrison Ingram, 14 points, 9 rebounds. The Spurs won the glass in this game, despite Oscar Shibwe for Salt Lake finishing the game with 22 points and 23 rebounds, which is kind of crazy. Gang rebounding for the Spurs, tons of extra effort. And with the game in the balance late, the Spurs won it on the glass with an offensive rebound from David Duke Jr. Jameer Nelson Jr. with a great game. Yes, you heard that right. Jameer Nelson Jr., which is crazy. I don't want to think about it too much. And Malachi Flynn with 21. But yeah, after the game, we got to catch up with Kyle Mangus, who led this Austin team with 22 points. He's new to the team, but was really, really gracious with his time. So here's that conversation.
So, Kyle, great game tonight. It was a big game too.
Huge
really,
game.
really important
Huge game.
in the standings. How does it feel getting to get back on this team and setting yourselves up for a good stretch run of this season?
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge win, especially since those guys got us yesterday. And, I think they moved into first place and, we still have some work to do, or we still had some work to do. Our goal is to get that 1 or the 2 seed. That's huge for the playoffs in the G League because you get that bye. So we were motivated coming in today. And I think the key was a aggressive and fast start on both ends of the floor. When you play a good team like Salt Lake, who's been on a roll, you have to get out to a good start, because the G League's just a game of runs, you know. And you want to be the one that kind of hits first. So that was really important for us today.
I mean, I think you were like 8 of those first
Yes.
there. But you're new to this Austin team relatively, but they've really excelled at defense this year. The defense is the best in the league by like a pretty wide margin. What do you think is the key for this team, as somebody who's played against them and now with them? What's going into that?
I mean, it starts with, I think, just how this team fights. Like, every guy is out there competing. Like, I think it starts with our big men, like Diallo and O. Like, those guys battle on the boards, at the rim. Like, they don't care how many points they get, but they are out there just to work. And you know, they deserve so much more credit than they actually get. And then, you know, our guards are just fighting over screens. The talk is there. Like, our coaches are really detailed too. You know, and the scouting reports, like, they're extremely prepared. So I think kind of a combination of all those things helps make our defense so great. And that's important, because, you know, defense can travel with you. When your shots aren't falling, you know, your defense can be there to kind of pick you back up and get stops, give you some momentum.
And one thing I wanted to ask, because we've sort of noticed it watching him play all season, Harrison Ingram, his playmaking, he's playing the 4 for this team a lot, and he seems to be really comfortable putting the ball on the floor, creating for himself and others. What have you seen from him in that area?
Yeah, he can do a lot of things on the court. I mean, first of all, he has great size, so he can guard pretty much any position. But on the offensive end especially, he can bring the ball up. He can come off a ball screen. He can get in the paint and make a play. He can hit a mid-range, hit a 3, offensive rebound. He can do so many things on the court, and that just makes him a huge weapon, kind of a matchup problem at times. So, you know, for a young guy, for a rookie, like, he's doing a great job being a leader, competitor. I've been impressed with him.
And I guess lastly, the goal kind of becomes pretty obvious for you guys when you're, you know, playing this well. So how do you, what are the last little bits to lock in as you're making a push for the G League title this year?
Yeah, I mean, playoffs are so intense, and it's a March Madness feel a little bit with the G League playoffs. Because up until the finals, it's one game and done. So anything can happen. So if you don't come ready to play in the playoffs, boom, like, your season's over just like that. Anything can happen. So you have to lock in even more, do the little things, like the small things individually yourself, get more sleep, eat better, like, train a little bit more, take care of your body, and then, you know, just being sharp when you come in, knowing the scouting report, like, those types of things. I mean, at this point, everyone's kind of banged up and tired, but it's those teams who can kind of just lock in, focus a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, that's what's going to help the most, I think, in the playoffs.
And keep an eye out for us. You know, tell your friends, tell your enemies about us, like and subscribe. And Zach, what do you have to say to the people before you sign off?
You know, yeah, boy.
Tom, what do you got?
Oh man, just thank you, everybody. I feel like I always joke around on these. I want to say sincerely, thank you, love you guys. I was joshing around off camera a bit, making fun of you guys, but no, I love, I miss. I'm excited to see you out in the world. So yeah, holler at your boy. We love you.
Hey, thank y'all as well for listening. Look, for some people it's gain season, for other people it's trimming season. Either way, eat your vegetables. Brussels sprouts go good with basically everything, so look up a good recipe for those. They got a bad rap when I was a kid. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Eat your vegetables, folks, specifically Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, don't boil them. Get a nice crispy.
Don't boil
texture.
them. Don't boil them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Don't boil them. Yeah. Perfect. All right, y'all. This was obviously the best episode of the podcast that we've done so far. We're going to keep making them the bestest ever. And we'll check y'all out next week. Peace.
100% no correction.